Good morning, North County Christian Fellowship. So I'm not speaking today, but another victory is the beautiful person that I want to introduce to you. So Julie has been a good friend, one of my favorite speakers here in our church, and she's part of the leadership of this church, whether she owns that or not, she has an official title or not, but wherever, whenever I think of leadership in our church, I always think about her. She has so much to share, and she may not share things the way that I do, or Junior does, or some of the other leaders that we've had in our church. She shares them like Julie does, which is so important that we understand. We're not all the same. By the way, did you like the new keyboard player we had out here today? Did you see it? Awesome. So without anything else, I guess I'll just invite Julie to come. Would you welcome Julie Bauer this morning, please?
Good morning. How are you? Good. I'm great. Thank you. So I was talking to Steve last Sunday about today, and I said, so what's my deadline to back out? Like Wednesday? And he just looked at me. There's no backing out. But I have to tell you, this one was a bear. I could not figure this one out. I went back and forth and round, but it just wouldn't come together. And everything I wrote was wrong. So last Saturday, I gave up. And I wrote to God instead. I'm just going to start, Lord. I keep waiting for it to all come together, but it won't come together unless I actually start. Seeking your face. I think that's what this is going to be about, right, Lord? Seeking your face. There are a lot of verses that talk about seeking your face, but there are also verses that say we can't see your face until we get to heaven. So what's the deal? How do we seek your face if we can't see it? And just what the heck is it that you want me to tell these people? Please help. Thanks. God then quickly reminded me that seeking is not seeing. Seeking is not seeing. I know when I hear the phrase, seek his face, I think I kind of look up in the clouds for eyes, ears, nose, and a mouth. But that's not how we seek. Psalm 27:8, come, my heart has said, seek his face. Come, my heart has said, seek his face. Come, my heart has said. The eyes don't say it. The heart says it. Seek his face. The squishy part, not the black and white part. Seek his face. Seeking is not seeing. And then just like that, I was stuck again. About a month ago, I was talking to Joe Provencio on a Sunday morning before church. Joe is a fun guy to talk to. I was telling him I'd been thinking about that idea that we're supposed to be channels for the Spirit to flow through. That verse that says, whoever believes in me, out of them will flow rivers of living water. And it made me think of canals, like irrigation canals they have over in the valley where I grew up. Those big concrete channels that water flows through. Smooth sides that the water is delivered to the farmers and their crops. And the thing that was hanging me up were those smooth sides. When I was little, people from the county would come to our classrooms and do a whole lesson to warn us to stay away from the canals. Because if we fell in, there would be nothing to grab onto. And the force of the water would sweep us away. All because of those smooth sides. And I told Joe, I feel like I'm getting in the way. God's Spirit wants to flow, but I'm blocking it like a big rock or something. The water's smashing into it, but it can't get anywhere because I'm in the way. Overthinking things and wanting to know where we're going to end up instead of just letting go and seeing what happens. Because I think there's a part of me that doesn't want to get swept away. But if I would just get out of the way, if we would just get out of the way, His Spirit would flow. His Spirit would flow fast and strong to water the crops. So Saturday, I was stuck. I had seeking is not seeing, and that was it. I came to church last Sunday, and every song was killing me in a good way. And we were singing that song morning by morning that we did this morning also. And we got to that chorus. I will trust where you lead. I will trust when I can't see. Morning by morning, great is your faithfulness to me. And God said, why don't you trust me? Why don't you trust me? And right about then, Jocelyn came up to me and very gently said, I don't know what you're going through, but God poked me and wanted me to tell you, this is for you. What you think you're hearing, you're hearing. Thanks. Why don't you trust me? You know, when I have the opportunity to come up here, I usually bring a big stack of papers because I have it all typed out word for word, and I've practiced over and over and over because I don't want to mess up. I don't want to waste your time. Why don't you trust me? Let go just a little. Why don't you trust me? And I answer him back and I say, because maybe you're busy. Maybe you don't have time to show up. So shouldn't I be prepared just in case? And he says, why don't you trust me? So I have been wrestling with him. And if you have been wrestling with him, maybe he's asking, why don't you trust me? For a few weeks now, Pastor Steve has been talking about a spirit-filled church and spirit-filled people. And when he started that series, there were three qualities that make something spirit-filled. Do you remember what they are? Thank you. God's presence, expectation, and empowerment. And he said those three things, and I wrote them down and took the notes. But looking back, I realized when he got to empowerment, I wasn't really listening. Not on purpose, but I just wasn't. Because I didn't think it applied to me. Because who am I? I'm small potatoes. I'm not doing anything big. Why would I need to be empowered? Why don't you trust me? A few days ago, I came across Steve's definition of empowered. Partnering with God so that His presence makes everything we do bigger and better. Partnering with God so that His presence makes everything we do bigger and better. That's a good definition. Partnering with God. You know, I thought being empowered would be like, boom, you're empowered, go do it. But that's not it at all. We're partnering with God. He's not sending us out there on our own. He's right here. We're a team. We're a team, and it's His presence that makes everything we do bigger and better. Everything we do. There are no small potatoes. A trip to the grocery store, driving in traffic, going to work. His presence makes everything we do bigger and better. So I didn't bring a stack of papers today because my partner wouldn't let me write them. I just have one single page of crazy notes. And I have to tell you, it cracks me up in a terrifying and great way to be partnering with God. What do you want to tell them, Lord? Tell them, I'm not hiding. Tell them I'm not hiding. In Deuteronomy and Jeremiah and Ezekiel and other places, it says God hid His face from His people. He was so angry with them. He couldn't stand to look at them. So He turned away and He hid His face. But that was then. Tell them, I'm not hiding. Come, my heart has said, seek His face. Tell them, I'm not hiding. My son Luke graduated from high school in June. We went to the graduation ceremony at Flamston Stadium, and we're sitting in the bleachers, and the graduates are outside the fence getting ready, and they're excused one at a time by a teacher to come in through the gate and walk onto the field and all that. But they're way across the field. You can't tell who's who. So I'm sitting next to my sister-in-law, and we're looking over there trying to see if we can spot Luke. And as the line is dwindling down, we have it narrowed down to two boys right next to each other that are about the right height and build. The teacher dismisses the first boy, and he takes off, and we're looking, and it might be him. Can you tell? I can't tell. The teacher dismisses the second boy, and he takes about 3 steps, and we both said, that's him. We couldn't see his face, but we knew it was him when he started to move. We knew it was him when he started to move, without a doubt. You know, when Matt comes up here to read something spur of the moment because he gets a nudge inside, that's God's face. When 2 young people stand up here on the stage to play a trumpet and to sing backup for a congregation of old people, sorry. That's God's face. When Ginny goes to her job at the middle school, even though everything up here says, don't do it, but something in here says, we have to. That's God's face. When a sweet family loses everything. But they show up here week after week to lift their hands in glory and honor and praise. That's God's face. Tell them, I'm not hiding. Tell them, I'm not hiding. Come, my heart has said, seek his face. What do you want to tell them, Lord? John 7:37-38. Now on the last day, the great day of the feast, Jesus stood and cried out, saying, if anyone is thirsty, let him come to me and drink. The one who believes in me, as the scripture said, from his innermost being will flow rivers of living water. If anyone is thirsty, let him come to me and drink. If anyone is thirsty, searching for water and refreshment and renewal and hope, let him come to me and drink, and drink, and drink, and drink. If anyone is thirsty, let him come to me and drink. And the one who believes from his innermost being, the squishy part, from his innermost being will flow rivers of living water. Will flow rivers of living water. The part in charge of making stuff flow. Rivers of living water. Not big, scary, raging waves of water, but rivers of living water that flow. That flow. Say flow. Do flow. Flow. It's fun, right? Flow. Seeking is not seeing. Trust me. Come to me and drink. Flow. What do you want to tell them, Lord? Tell them, get out of the way. I'm coming through. Get out of the way. I'm coming through. Amen.